It doesn't always go the way we expect it to. But technology is not always my friend. But we are live, and I'm excited to see you. Hopefully that you're here. I can see Nancy in the back. So hi, Nancy. Glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're here with us today, you are in the Healthy Policies group. We are here talking about how to make things healthier at home, at work, and in the community. And we are talking today about something really special. We have been talking all month about my favorite topic, the Full Focus Planner, which is one of these. And we've been talking about setting goals. And you've got about 6 days if you're going to start setting off goals for the new year of 2023. And if you've been joining us, we've been talking about the planner, we've been talking about the full focus system, and we're going to tap that off today with one of the tricks to getting more things done, and that's networking and finding people that can help you do things smarter and not harder, because there's a lot of things in life we try to do all by ourselves, and we really shouldn't be doing that. So we're going to be talking about that today. So first of all, I want to say thank you to those who always catch the replay if they can't get here live. I know Tanya pops in. I know Peggy pops in. I want to say thank you so much. And the thing that you can do for me, if you want to say thank you and you want to show appreciation for the group and for all that we do, please invite your friends to join us. We'd love to have you here in the group, the Making Healthier Policies group. We would love to have you here. And if you're with us today, you will see a link in the chat. Make sure you click that link, come to the back. We're going to do a Q&A afterwards and talk all about goal setting, because we've been talking about that all month long. It's one of my favorite topics. So if you're here today, say networking in the chat. Let us know that you're here. If you're watching replay, type #replay networking, because we're going to talk about what we need to do to make things work smarter and not harder. And we're going to start with one of my favorite books. I've got a lot of show and tell today, so it's going to be fun. One of my favorite books is by Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. And it's called Who Not How. And the book is about, they call it the formula to achieve bigger goals through accelerating teamwork. This book has changed my life. I can't say that about a lot of things, but this one has, because I'm a how kind of girl. I am a person that likes to know how things work. I ask lots of questions. I'm really detailed. I love research. And so I can get stuck with how. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? And what the book's premise is that other people already know how, and it's my job to find the who. So instead of getting stuck, always trying to figure out how and coming to the end of my own abilities, I find a who that knows more about it than I do, and you can keep going. This has changed everything. Up until about a year or so ago, I was a solopreneur doing lots of things by myself. And I started growing little by little with adding contractors to help me do projects, but still had all the admin myself and doing all of those types of skills and tools. And so I have found with learning which things I need to get off my plate that I'm not super good at, and we're going to talk about a tool here in just a second to help you do the same, that has really changed my life. And the things that were the things that I thought caused drudgery in my life, or the drudgery zone, as Full Focus System talks about it, those things are the things I offloaded first. And so I have found planners from back in the middle of 2019, one at the end of 2020, and the one now that you're going to see what's called a Freedom Compass. And I'm going to show you what the Freedom Compass was, how it worked, and the things that I started delegating off my list that I can even tell you to who all of them went to through the years. And so now I can focus on the things that only I can focus on. So before I read this book, like I said, my typical story was I would try to figure it out. And I'm pretty good. I can figure out lots of things. Marie Forleo says everything is figure outable. She's made up that word, Marie Forleo, if you haven't met her. She's amazing. Marie's amazing, but everything is figure outable. But it would get me stuck because I was stick in my own head trying to figure out how to do it myself. And that's not the point. The point isn't to figure out how to do it yourself. The point is, who do you know that can do it better? And so when you start getting stuck, sometimes those of us that are those how kind of people, we get stuck because we want to figure it out. And then it takes a really long time. And so this book particularly helped me figure out that there are things that only I can do, just like you. There are things that you do best, things that are your gifts, your skill set that only you can put out in the world. And if you're doing everything because you can do a lot of things well, you're not taking the time that you need to do to really focus on those things that is really your gift. That is why you're here, to put those things out in the world, because you don't have balance. And so the Full Focus System has what they call the Freedom Compass, and they want you to live in what they call the desire zone. And the way you think about how this works is the desire zone is stuff that you're proficient at and also passionate about. So there are things in life that you're good at, you're proficient at, and you also really love, things that you're passionate about. And that's the desire zone in which you should spend most of your time. Now, there's other things that maybe you have some passion about, but you're not really good at. And everybody have one of those, some hobbies maybe that you think are fun, but you're not super great at it. And so you can easily get bogged down in those spaces, right? And so in that space, they could talk that what you're passionate about, but maybe you're not really good at. That's what they call the distraction zone. And so if you find things that are in your life that cause distractions, you're not good at it, but my gosh, you can do it. I mean, there's a lot of things in my life I can do, but it takes me off my game, right? I'm supposed to be writing content. I'm supposed to be teaching. I'm supposed to be coaching. I'm supposed to be training. But hey, I can organize things with the best of them. I can create file systems and I can organize closets. I can do all kinds of things, but that's not really keeping me on my target, on my mission, right? And it gets me distracted. Another zone that they have is called the disinterest zone. The disinterest zone is stuff that you're pretty good at, but you just aren't even passionate about it at all. Things that are like just not interesting to you. And so there are things that maybe you really can do, and maybe you've done them forever. And when you're a solopreneur like I was, I had to do everything myself for a very long time. And so I got pretty good at doing lots of things, even though I didn't necessarily like it. I just did a lot of that stuff. And then finally, that column I talked about before was called the drudgery zone. That's the stuff that you're not good at, nor do you have passion for. You're just not really doing either one, but somehow you got stuck doing it. And then they added a fifth zone kind of in the middle of things you want to develop, things that you want to grow in, things that you want to improve. And you look at this thing called a freedom compass and you list tasks and you start identifying which ones of these things are really in your zones of genius. Are you really, really good at things? Those should be in the desire zone. And then they make you set some goals of how much time that your life should be in each of those categories. And you can guess, if you spend a lot of time in that distraction zone doing stuff that's fun maybe, but doesn't really get you very far, you're going to waste a lot of time and you're not going to be working in the areas that actually maybe make you money or make you feel good about yourself. You're going to spend a lot of time like surfing the internet is one of mine that lives over there in distraction zone. I'm real good about that, but there's no value truly that comes from it. So let me show you what this looks like in practice. So I've told you before, I am a Freedom full focus planner user, and the Freedom Compass I pasted right to the very front of my book. And I'm sure the print is too small for you to read it, but I'm going to tell you some of these things. This one is my book from 2019 quarter 2. So this would have been March to June of 2019, pre-pandemic. So this was the very first time I started using a Freedom Compass. And these are some of the tasks that I put in what I call the drudgery zone. And the drudgery zone is the one that you're not proficient at and you're not passionate about. And those are the ones that really make you hate your life. Those are the ones that just suck the life right out of you. So my list at the time: filing, invoicing in QuickBooks, follow-up calls, and follow-up paperwork. I hated all that stuff. Stuff that I was okay at, but it just didn't really interest me, was grading papers and class prep. I used to teach classes. And then stuff that was distracting for me were things like Facebook Lives and social media, or making bill watch lists, emails, text messenger. And then things I wanted to grow in and things I wanted to develop that I didn't have in 2019, Facebook Lives. I hadn't done any of these in Facebook Lives. I had never done this before. Now I've done it for well over a year. And so that development now has become something that I love and something that I'm passionate about. So let's look at this list. If I talk to you about the list that I have here, some of those things. So class prep and grading papers, that's gone. I decided to stop teaching classes back in last year. I taught my last class in fall of 2021. And so I have been done with classes now for a year. And I did that because the pay is not awesome and I had to put a whole lot of time into it. So I was okay at it. I was good at it, but it really didn't light my fire anymore. So I had to let that go. So that's now off the list. The stuff about invoicing in QuickBooks, hated QuickBooks. And so the first person I ever brought onto my team was a CPA to do my books. That is not a gift I have. So the very first skill set that I wanted to hire out was somebody to help me do my business books. And I've had a CPA of various types for years. That's one of the main pieces I brought on when I went into business on my own, was to make sure I paid my taxes on time and make sure I didn't get in trouble with the IRS, because I could do that all by myself without even a business. So I wasn't about to let my business get in trouble. So those are the kind of things that you're like, what are you not good at? You start getting help quick in those spaces. And so then let me show you what happened after that. So that's the one in 2019. So you move forward to 2022, this is 2020 in the fall. So class prep and papers were still there, grading papers, because I hadn't got rid of the job yet. So it continued on in my stuff I didn't like because I hadn't gotten rid of the job yet. It's gone now, but it wasn't gone then. At the bottom, QuickBooks, still the bane of my existence. I hate QuickBooks. So you know what we did? We actually got a different program. We got rid of QuickBooks completely. Bye-bye, QuickBooks. Happiest day of my life. Because I didn't understand it. I didn't think like that. And so now I have a different program that other people can see into, that other people can use, and it's simple and easy to use. Somebody made a competitor for QuickBooks. Wow. And they're my favorite people. So QuickBooks is gone, but it was still here at the time and something I dreaded. I just hated it. And bookkeeping, same thing, real bad at that. And then all the stuff that's still a distraction. So I was still working on in this space in 2020 was about going on stages and doing lives, stuff I hadn't done before. Well, now I've done that straight for the last 2 years. So I talk on stage all the time and I'm live all the time. So now it's not something to develop anymore because it's something I already do. Now, this one is my last one. This is my last Freedom Compass. And in it, we needed to do some other things. We needed to work on social media and figuring out how to do connections and that gets me super distracted. I can spend a lot of time doing it, but it doesn't necessarily lead me where I need to go. So I've hired a VA. I have a VA specifically designed to help me in social media to figure out the plan, figure out what time I need to do, what time I don't need to do. And it's been amazing. But I learned that because I put it in the zones that were not working for me. What's not working? Also, I learned I don't really like tracking analytics and data. So my business manager, my VA, they do that for me now. Now they're really, really important, right? Knowing where your budget numbers are, knowing where you're going to go, knowing what works on social media and what isn't working. And so that you don't just do things that don't work, super, super important. But it wasn't my gift. It wasn't my strength. I don't think like that. So I need somebody who can do those things for me, to interpret them for me, to analyze them for me, so that I can get the information that I need to run the business, right? And so that we just brought on Holly. Holly's amazing. You'll meet her in the group. She's always here in our Facebook group. If you get a message from Holly, it's the same as if you got a message from me. She's my partner in crime now in this group, and Holly is amazing. But we brought her on specifically to help me do these things because I don't think like that. I don't plan in social media. I waste time in social media. I am the queen of wasting time, but not actually doing anything useful. And so I've got time to use, but I need kind of some direction. Like, what in the world should I do it with? And that's what we brought her in for. And then there's other things that are still on my list. But because I have made some of these changes and because we have moved forward in this Freedom Compass, now I have more people to work with. So the who came along in my life. So to verify what the who's are, we have a business manager now, Molly. Molly's amazing. Molly comes in and does all the backside behind the business to get things going, helps us plan our quarter. We have an annual kind of a timeline of where we're going next year. We have goals lined out now for quarter 1. So we're not overwhelmed. We know a path and a plan. And so we know, like, we're going to do another policy party in the new year coming up towards spring break. And so to do that, we want to have the ramp up time, knowing when that's coming. You guys are going to get a lot more information in the new year here in this group. And we're excited to have you come back and join us again. And so we're going to be talking about that, but Molly helped us plan that out. And then Holly, like I already talked about, she's here helping us with social media, helping us make a plan. And so for me, that is a big, big deal. My business has grown because I went with who and not how. So as you're getting into the new year, who do you need to talk to? Excuse me. Who do you need to talk to? If you don't know who you need to talk to and you need to ask for help, put conversation in the chat. If you put conversation there, you and I will talk and we'll figure out exactly who it is you're looking for to help you move forward in what you're doing. We can't do everything ourselves. We can try to be resourceful. We can try to do the how, but we can't always do it ourselves. Like Dr. Sullivan or Dr. Hardy and Dan Sullivan tell you, sometimes you go faster if you find the who. And so put conversation in the chat. We'll reach out, we'll connect, and we'll be happy to sit down and brainstorm. Who are those people that maybe can help you get some of the stuff off your plate that you don't need on your plate anymore, so that you can do the work that you need to be doing and that only you can do. So we're excited to see you here. We'll be back again next week, and we'll be talking about the brand new year. Can you believe it? It's almost 2023.